This Volkswagen Coach-Built Special is about the Swiss Gia Egle, not to be mistaken with the Italian Carrozzeria Gia from Turin, that is world famous due to the design of the Karmann Gia. But there is an interesting connection. In this video, I will cover that connection, I will discuss the one or two cars that were built on a Volkswagen chassis, and I will talk about a special Porsche that was mistakenly considered as a Gia Egle build. But first, hit the subscribe button if you like this video. Okay, let's start with some history. From the website giaegle.info, it is found that Gia Egle company was founded on April 30th in 1948 by engineer and industrialist Pierre Paul Filippi in the Swiss city of Egle. So that explains the last part of the name. And as Aigle is French for eagle, it is logical that the logo contains an eagle. But when the company moved to Lugano on the 1st of 1955, a new logo was used. And Lugano is also the place where the Volkswagen Gia Egle was built. But now, let's come to the first part of the name. The connection between Pierre Paul Filippi and Gia can be found in this Dutch magazine article from 1987, covering a visit from Dieter Koenman to the Gia Egle company, where he talked to Jean-Claude Ogli, who was the head of the painting department and also the administrator until 1981. This article is a translation of the original article published in Auto Exclusive number 5 in May 1984. According to Jean-Claude Ogli, Filippi traveled to Carrozzeria Gia in Turin with a rather strange request. He said he owns a body repair shop in Aigle and explained that his body repair shop would build bodies based on Italian design. For the name of the company, he wanted to use the name Gia, as he believed it would be stylish and give the Italian connection he was aiming for. At that time, Gia was owned by Mario Buono, and although he wasn't very enthusiastic about the idea, he eventually agreed on using the Gia name. You have to consider that Gia company was completely demolished in an air raid during World War II in 1943. It was being rebuilt, and in 1948 Carrozzeria Gia itself could also profit from a deal, as Buono could use extra production capacity and also use extra working capital that Filippi could provide. So, in the end, Filippi was granted a license to build bodywork for Gia and started and operated as a subsidiary of Carrozzeria Gia in Turin, as is also mentioned on these early sales literature. So far, the story about the founding of Gia Egle company and the connection with Carrozzeria Gia in Turin. Now, let's look at a little timeline between 1948 and the Geneva Motor Show in March 1957, when the Volkswagen Gia Egle was presented. During the 12 years of production, 3 different head designers were working for Gia Egle. In the early years, Buono himself worked as the head designer for Gia Egle and basically used Gia Egle as a second production facility for his designs. In 1951, Buono retired as designer of Gia Egle as the Carrozzeria Gia growth, and he needed his focus there, and Giovanni Michelotti took over as main designer for Gia Egle. 2 years later, Buono had some different opinions with the company's chief engineer and designer Luigi Segre, and Buono left the company in 1953 and ownership passed on to Segre. As Buono now both left Gia Egle and Carrozzeria Gia, there was nothing more that held the two companies together. And that same year, 1953, Gia Egle became completely independent and were allowed to keep using the Gia name. In 1955, the company moved from Egle to Lugano and the production went up. In 1957, they had a really big stand at the Geneva Motor Show with no less than 8 cars, and where the Volkswagen were prominently presented in the corner of the stand. And now we are finally getting to the Volkswagen Gia Egle, a unique custom body built on October 1956 Beetle chassis. It is an aluminium construction on a steel frame. The dashboard is upholstered, and although the chassis was based on a Beetle, it is fitted with Porsche 356A brakes, and the engine reads 50 horsepower with the help of a Mack compressor. The car was first presented on the Geneva Motor Show in March 1957 in a beautiful metallic blue color. The first owner paid 15,000 Swiss francs, what was 3 times the price of an ordinary Beetle. Later, other owners replaced the engine with a Porsche 1300. A comparison of the two pictures shown an intensive intervention by one of the previous owners. Modification of the rear lights, which destroyed one of the car's highlights. These are the main difference in the design of the Ghia Eglet compared to the Karmann Ghia. Of course, apart from the size of the front window and the slope of the A-pillar, and above all the significant more aggressive shape of the front part, dominated by a false radiator grille. The car changed hands between Swiss, Italian, Austrian owners and ended up by a German collector before being sold to the Volkswagen Museum in 2000. It was shown in 2004 together with 10 other special-bodied Volkswagens like the Romage Druze, also Romage Taxi, a Stoll Coupe, a Beutler and a police car. From 2006 a restoration started by the Technische Restaurazione Werner Zinker. In 2009 the restore car debuted on the Techno-Classica in Essen, Germany. And now the car is on display in the museum. This car has been out occasionally for several meetings in the last 15 years, like the 2000 Chateau d'Eau meeting and the Hessig-Oldendorf meeting. The color choice is rather remarkable. It's a great color combination, but the original blue metallic color in combination with the interior in light yellow as original would be my preference. After the Volkswagen, Michelotti designed a few more cars, but resigned as head designer in 1957. Pietro Frua took over. In 1958, after a little more than 3 years, Ghia Eglet relocated back from Lugano to Eglet on the 23rd of April 1958. Frua designed a few cars, like an Alfa Romeo 1900 and a Chevrolet Corvette. The last special for Ghia Eglet was a Jaguar Coupe from 1958, and that car ended the era of coach building for Ghia Eglet. Another interesting event in 1959 was that Ghia Eglet employee Adriano Guglielmetti left the company and founded his own company called Italswiss. The first car by Italswiss was the Sun Valley, based on the Volkswagen Beetle chassis. I will cover that car in a later video. And also 1959, a second Volkswagen? Let's take a closer look. And now the red car that is mentioned as a second Volkswagen built by Ghia Eglet. It is mentioned on the Ghia Eglet info website, also on the Coach Build forum and in this very nice book of Thomas Brown. All post the same and only known picture that was originally published in the April 1959 edition of Technikunst Vault. So let's take a closer look to the picture and use Google to translate the Swedish text. The text mentioned that it is a Volkswagen built and presented by Ghia Swiss. It also mentioned that the engine got extra horsepower through a low pressure compressor and the top speed is therefore 160 km per hour. Looking closely at the picture, it looks indeed like a Ghia Eglet logo on the side of the car. But it is unlikely to be designed by Frua. And is this really a Volkswagen? What do you think? Leave a comment if you want to share your opinion, or better, if you have something to contribute to solve this mystery. And now some last Ghia Eglet timeline facts that are important to mention before going to the Porsche. Frua managed to arrange the production of 49 Lord Alexander Frua coupes in 1958-59 in Eglet. It is believed that 14 of these cars survived up today. After 1960, repairs, ambulances, removal vans and other commercial transformations were made. In 1981 the firm came into liquidation, and in 1984 the liquidation was final and that ended the company Ghia Eglet. That leaves us to the Porsche offered by the Calandria collection as a 1961 Porsche 356 PT6 Ghia Eglet. But this car is not built by Ghia Eglet or Ghia Swiss, but by Ghia in Turin. It even has the Ghia logo on the side of the car and not the Ghia Eglet logo. And in 1961 the company in Swiss didn't even build complete cars anymore. They only did repairs and modifications. The Confusion started as this car was originally a Porsche delivered to Ahmad Smith, and a mistake was made to confuse Gia Swiss with Gia Turin. And funny is that even a scale model was made that mentioned the incorrect Gia Eckle connection. And speaking about model cars, I want to show you one last thing. I'm now here at my miniatures room, and as far as I know, there is no officially built Gia Eckle by any manufacturer like Mini-Shams or Towcharge or what we have, Neo, who's done a lot of coach build lately. But I have one, especially made by a friend of mine. And here it is. The Gia Eckle, specially made in carton for me by Rijn, who made this one in Estonia. And this is the end of my first Volkswagen Coach Build special. I hope you liked it. As you can see, I have a lot more to talk about. So subscribe to my channel so you won't miss anything in the future. And see you next time.